Welcome to the Kola 201 presentation. In this presentation, I want to provide you with a comprehensive overview of some of the features that are available on our time bank and give you an opportunity to see some of the other features that you may not currently be using, but which may be beneficial in your time banking experience. So we're going to start here on the front page of the website. Of course, at the very top of the website, you have the name of our time bank, the Kola Collaborative. You have some contact information for the time bank there, address and phone. You've got the number of members and the number of hours we've exchanged, and our tagline, our abundant social infrastructure made visible. Over here to the right, you have the login information. So when you're ready to log in, your email and password. There's some terms of service information there if you click on that link, and some privacy information, just so that everyone knows this site is HIPAA approved. So it's a very high security privacy standard. So the time bank, time bank platform, Hourworld, holds itself to that standard. And then there's a forgot your password link. So if you click that link, it'll take you through some processes to email yourself a temporary password. And if you wanted to link your account up with Facebook, you're free to do that as well. Over here, just below that section on the left, you get the Become a Member button. So if you were referring a friend to the front page of the website, if you refer them to kolanetcollab.org, then you could let them know that they could click on the button to become a member, and it would take them to the member application page. So if we click on that Become a Member button, then we see that it takes them to it takes us to the form where we can fill out that member application. Also there in that same section is a Contact Us button. If we click on that Contact Us button, this is a form that will allow you to contact your exchange coordinator, myself. So it just simply asks for your name and email, and then there's an option where you can go ahead and send that message over to the exchange coordinator. And you know, you have one of these buttons also when you log into the website. So that one is probably the one that you'll be using most often if you have any questions for me. All right, now on the left panel here, so on the left panel, you'll have the options here for submitting the annual donation. Some of you are on reciprocal agreements. So if you have a reciprocal organizational agreement, you know that your membership for the first year has been sponsored by the organization that you joined with. But you know, when you do get an email on the anniversary of your joining date, there'll be the option both in that email for you to submit your annual donation, and then there will also be this panel here where you can submit your annual donation, and it's just a PayPal link, you know, giving the options for individual, household, and organization. And then below that, there's a second link for that where you can subscribe if you wanted to have your donation annually debited from your PayPal account. On the right side is going to be a brief section that gives an explanation of what a time bank is, so a service exchange or time bank, and it gives the distinction between time banking and bartering. So that's you know, should be helpful information for people who are landing on the site who are not familiar with time banking. We want to make sure that they have all of the information that they need to understand the distinction between time banking and other forms of exchange. And I'm just going to pause this slideshow, otherwise it'll autoplay a video. Okay. And just below that service exchange explanation, there's a link where you can like the Facebook page. And just below that Facebook page section is a section for subscribing to the mailing list. So if anyone wants to be on the mailing list for upcoming orientations, that would be a good place to refer them. Now if we go to this center area, the center area is where a lot of the meat is. So you know, that information there is going to be information about the guiding vision, mission, and goals of this specific time bank, the Kola Collaborative. It gives an explanation of, you know, of some of the qualities that we were seeking to impart, some of the values that we have as we were setting out to develop this time bank. And then it also gives information about the membership types and tiers. So individual, household, organization, or business, time, equity, and scholarship. It gives all of those different membership types and explains what the requirements are of that membership. Below that, there is the presentation. So the presentation that's given during the Kola 101 orientation is embedded on this website so people can come and review the slides from that orientation. Those slides are constantly changing as I make small tweaks to the presentation, but all of those changes should automatically be sent through to this website so anyone can come along, review the slides, see the quotes, and get further information in terms of what we are doing here in the time bank. Finally, below that slide presentation, you will find the Kola Community Calendar. So the Kola Community Calendar is currently populated with different events that are happening in the community. As we engage with other organizations inside of the time bank, as other organizations join. Recently, we've had the Sacred Keeper Sustainability Lab join. So as new organizations join the time bank, they'll be invited to also populate some of their events on the Kola Community Calendar. And this is just a way for us to remain connected. So, if there are events that you see that might be in your neighborhood and you just click on a link for an event and it gives you some brief information about the event that's happening and, locations and descriptions and things like that and how you can participate in that. So if you see something happening in your community and it's on this Kola Community Calendar, then you know that it's happening with another member of a time bank, and maybe there's a way that you can be involved, or maybe there's a way that you can attend, and you want to reach out to that time bank member and see, what, how you might be involved, or what if it's something that you're interested in. If you do have a Gmail account, you can certainly click on this link here to add this calendar to your list of calendars so that it comes directly into your account and you can kind of put notifications and things like that on the events. And at the very bottom of the page is where you'll get some more information about, again, time bank contact information, members and hours exchanged, as well as the general Hourworld member and hour exchanges. So now we're going to go ahead and log into the website. So my information is pre-populated here. Okay, and this is going to be when you actually get to the year anniversary, this is what you might see when you log in. Of course, the Kola website itself has been up for a year, so this account that I'm logging in with is at its year anniversary. But when you do get to your year anniversary, you would see a message like this, which would just announce the type of membership that you're under and give you some options for fulfilling those membership requirements. So we're just going to click continue to the home page. Okay, and when you log in, this is what you should see within the site on the home page. So this is the account for the actual Kola Collaborative itself. I'm not logged in with my personal account, but that will allow me to show you what it would look like from a member perspective. So some of the first things you'll see here at the top, again, are going to be a search box. And that search box, if you see the bubble that popped up there, search offers, request, members, bios, messages, and help. So that search box is a general search box. You can go ahead and just type a keyword in there, and it will search that keyword not only across the different offers and requests that are in our time bank, but it also does searches inside of the support record, so the help files. So it's pulled up some offers and requests here at the moment. I'm going to try to pull up something for our help files here. Exchange. Okay, so I've searched for exchange, and not only does it have a matching member bio, but it matches to announcement, it matches some help items. So if you click on any of these things, it will take you to a page where you can see some of those items. So we'll just click on the help items and see where it takes us here. Okay, and here's some help results that it picked up. I posted my last exchange with the wrong member. How do I change it? You have some options here. So all of these options are things where you would have that are help files that contain that word exchange, and that it thought that you might find helpful for the search that you put in. So we're just going to go ahead and navigate back to that home page. Okay, and that you can get to your general help file here as well. So to the right of the search, you've got the help file. So if you wanted to look through the help files and see, see if you have a question there that might be answered, or you have a question that might be answered, might be in the help file. You have notices. Now notices, I'm just going to click on that as well. Okay, so in the notices section, if you notice, it's very similar to the front page home notices section, but there's some slight differences here. The external notices and the internal notices I can change. I can have distinct, so that members see something different from the folks who are viewing for the first time externally. So this one is slightly different, and the only difference currently on there, well, in addition to there not being the links to the Facebook page or the subscription, as well as no membership information. Um, there's a membership agreement and release of liability form. Now, this form would have been emailed out to you all when it was initially plugged into the site. So if you have not had a chance to review that membership agreement and release of liability, please go ahead and make sure that you do so. Okay, and so that's on the notices page. We're going to click on this sponsors page. That's a function that's not generally used, but it's an offer from Hourworld. If we have external sponsors that might want to be involved in the time bank or might want to support the time bank, they would have a logo that they could put here on the sponsors page. Okay, then there's the logout button. So when you're done with your time banking, certainly if you're on a public computer, make sure that you press logout so that your account won't be compromised. And we're going to go back to that home page. Okay, and here you have the welcome back with the name of the account that you're logged in with. Here you would have the hours that are associated with that account. Certainly, the time bank has been doing a lot of work to get itself off the ground, so it's in the negative at the moment. But as we generate additional community chest hours, those hours shift and change accordingly. Okay, so the first section that you would encounter here below on the home page is this post an announcement option. And the announcement section is a place where you can post offers, requests, and general announcements. And the important thing about this section is the announcement section is mostly for short-term requests or requests that sort of have a much shorter lifetime. Because if you look at the expiration options for announcements, you got, within 2 weeks, within 9 days, today. So if you have something that's like an immediate project, it's not like a long-term project, but you kind of just need to get, some folks aware of it now, then the announcement section would be appropriate for that. And the thing about the announcement section is while they would be able to find it in the keyword section, it would not fall into the categories that are listed under offers and requests, and we'll look at those offers and requests in a moment. But so that's the thing about announcements. You can use it to post your requests and your offers, but if it's something that you're going to want to either be offering over a long term or want to have in the request section for a long term, then that's probably not the appropriate place to post your request or your offer. But if it is something for the short term, again, within a 2-week period, then you can freely post that here. And here we have some folks who have posted announcements so far. And also on the right side, so this is the announcement where members announcements would go in the left panel. On the right side of the page, you have announcements by the Kola Collaborative itself. So if we look at these announcements, we got the list of new members. So every time new members join, you all will get a notification. There will be an announcement both here, and it will also show up in the newsletter that you receive, telling you who the new members are, giving you an opportunity to welcome those new members, engage with those new members, look at their profile, see if they have things out there that you might like to engage with in terms of new offers and new requests. And then, of course, you'll also see inside of that announcement section just some different tips. So, anytime I come across a question that, anyone in the time bank asks me more than once, then, I may likely start putting a tip out here just so that, other members can take advantage of the answer to that question as well. And so we'll continue scrolling down here. And below that, you have new requests and new offers. So anytime a request or offer is posted, it will be in this new requests and new offers area for 1 week, giving members who log in an opportunity to go ahead and just see it immediately. So it'll also be inside of the newsletter. So that it posted there, it posted here on the web page in the news section for a week, so that you can see it immediately. But it generally assumes that if it goes out in the newsletter, then it doesn't need to be in this new offers section. And so at that point, it'll just go back into the general list of general list of offers and requests. So it won't be on this page again more than 7 days. All right. So that's that home page. And of course, if you are new to the time bank, you would have a to-do list. And if we click on that My To-Do list, it just tells you some things that you might want to do to enhance your time banking experience. So, if you are at your year-long anniversary, it'll let you know about the member donations. If you haven't done your bio, it'll ask you to edit your bio. It'll ask you to add some offers, because members want to know what you need, and how they can help. Or pardon me, the offers. Members want to know what you have. So that's something that you want to make sure that you post. So that's that to-do list section. And we'll just flip back to home for a moment to make sure I haven't missed anything. All right. So from home, we're going to go to the hours page. Okay, now on this hours page, you see there at the top, there's the hint. It says work from the top down. And the reason that you work from the top down is because the first question that it asks you is, did you provide a service or did you receive a service? And that's going to determine a lot about how you set up this transaction. So if you provided a service, then you would be able to select the exchange date. So let's just select today. And then it would ask you the number of members that you provided that service for. So for right now, we'll just select one. You can enter the number of hours that you set up for that exchange. And then you can look up the member name. Okay. And then from there, you can select the category of the exchange. So it'll ask you the top category and then the subcategory. And then you can put an optional comment. I highly recommend always leaving a comment, just because it helps you to know as you engage in more and more exchanges. It'll help you to understand the anatomy of your exchanges, the types of exchanges you've engaged in. It'll help you to kind of keep a digital memory of the types of exchanges you've engaged in. And in terms of transactions, both the provider and the receiver have the opportunity to leave comments on an exchange. And that just allows everyone to kind of be able to be aware of the types of exchanges they've engaged in the past, and just to keep a record of those things. So once you've recorded those sections there, and you've recorded that comment, you can do record transaction, and it will be recorded to your time bank statement. Now, I'm just going to switch this to 2 members for a moment, just to show you another aspect of this. So this is called a multi-member exchange. So if you've provided service for multiple members, then it's going to look a little bit differently. It's going to say, what were your preparation hours? And preparation hours are, again, if you're doing ride sharing, preparation hours might be the time that it takes you to travel to the location. And generally, whenever you're doing a transaction, you always want to include your travel time in the hours of the exchange. But preparation hours might include your travel time. It might include, the time getting the exchange set up. So, if you've been doing a lot of negotiation in terms of when the other party is available, or getting materials and things like that assembled, then your preparation hours would include all of that sort of all of those sort of experiences. So we're just going to enter 1.5 for the preparation time, and then face-to-face hours would simply be the time that you spent actually doing the exchange, and so that would be 2 hours. And in terms of receiving credit for your exchange, you will receive credit for both your preparation hours and your face-to-face hours. Okay, so let's look up the member name. So we'll just start with that. And okay, and so in terms of the time that you receive for your exchange, so the combination of 1.5 plus 2 is 3.5 hours. So one of the things that's unique about the multi-member exchange is that you may see something on your statement that says account transfer that goes back to the Kola. And the reason that that happens is because 3.5 hours will be received from each member. So in this case, Michael Tekhen Strode will give you 3.5 hours, and Sacred Keeper Sustainability Lab will give you 3.5 hours. Now, because the person that's providing the service has actually only provided 3.5 hours total, then that's the only number of hours that they are actually going to be receiving in their time bank. And the account transfer that happens, those extra, 3.5 hours would then go back into the time bank community chest fund. So the general fund, so that fund where you saw it's negative 202.5, that would go back into the infrastructure. And the reason that that happens is because in the spirit of time banking, we're making sure that people are only compensated for the hours that they actually spend providing a service, and not sort of an additional buffer of hours just because there were multiple members in the transaction. So in that transaction, you're also going to leave a comment, and then you could record the transaction there. Now we'll go up to the top here and we'll switch to I received this service. Let's go ahead and refresh this page so we can get a fresh page for that. So I received this service. Okay, so when you do the I receive this service, again, you have the option to select the exchange date. You have the option of selecting the number of members that you've received it from, the hours, the member name, the category, category and subcategory. The unique thing about the receiving of the service is that you'll get this section where it says, were you satisfied with the service? And that's really just a really light review function. So it gives the opportunity for both you and the other party to understand, your level of satisfaction with the service, and it also notifies the exchange coordinator for some reason if someone was dissatisfied with the service, because that way, what I would then come in and do is I would connect with the two members, who had negotiated on the service, and I would see what we could do to change that satisfaction rating on the service. So, what happened with the service? What was the problem with the exchange? Is it something that we can remedy? So it just gives us an opportunity to make sure that as we're building this trust network, that we are not only having communication with one another, that we're maintaining integrity with one another, and that we are actually doing the real work of understanding what our expectations are inside of this network. So that's what you'll get with this satisfaction space. And then let's click this help button, and it'll tell you how this works. Okay, so there's a full section here about member satisfaction and endorsements. So I would highly recommend that you check out the help menu and read that function, read that page. It gives a lot of great information, again, about what we're building in terms of a reputation-based network. So it's all about reputation, it's all about trust, and there's a lot of information inside of the help files about that. Okay, so that's that hours page. Let's switch over to the accounts page now. All right, now on the accounts page, you'll have some information here about the contact section. Now, for the contact section for the Kola Collaborative, those our records or our contact information is public. So that's why you see contact information here. In general, when you go to a member's account, this information is going to not be here. It's just going to have a button that says email me. And perhaps I'll go to another profile in a moment and show you what that would look like. But yes, so this account section is contact information for your account. And then below that, you would have the groups. So if your account is a member of any groups inside of the time bank, then those groups would appear here. and we'll explain groups in just a moment. Also, you would have the number of exchanges that you've made. You would have times your account has appeared in the search. You would have page visits. And then you have a number of different badges here that just kind of talk about, whether or not you've done different things within the time bank. So, for instance, this first badge has made at least 100 service exchanges. We've got a badge for has received service at least 100 times. We've got a badge for has at least one exchange supporting the time bank. So there's a lot of different exchanges that are going on here. Below that, you'll have the member bio. So if you filled in your bio, then it would have a brief information about the number of exchanges that you've had and the number of members you've engaged with. And it also have that bio that you typed up. Then you have a section for offers and a section for request. The Kola Collaborative currently has a request out there for folks who want to be Time Bank ambassadors, as well as folks who want to join the kitchen cabinet. And then you'll also have information here about how long you've been a member. So you've got member since and you've got last login. Up here above on the top of the accounts page, you've got a section that has edit my request, add request, edit my offers, add offer. So if you have not yet added an offer, then you might just see, an option for add offers, add request here. Okay. But if you see that edit my request option, if you click it, it'll take you to the page where you can make changes to your request. So we'll just click on that edit my request first. And as you see here, there's the option for you to make changes to the request that you've set up in the system. We'll do the same thing for offers. Let's see, edit my offers. And I currently have no offers out there, but if I had offers out there, I would be able to edit them. And then the adding requests and adding offers actually takes you to very similar pages. If you click on add offer, it'll take you to a section where you can check the offer that you're trying to post. And once you post that, you will be able to go ahead and fill in the description. So we'll look at that further when we look at the offer section. And the same thing happens when you do add request. It takes you again to that checkbox. You can check the selection and then begin to post the offer. So back on the account page, so we've looked at those offer and request buttons. If we look at the profile section, the profile section will give us information about your name and your address and things like that. That's where you can go ahead and edit any of that information that you might like to edit. You can go ahead and deactivate your membership if you're going away for a while and you don't want to have this information. You don't want to have your profile visible. You could turn off your membership temporarily. Then there is, of course, your bio section. So if you want to give folks information about who you are, so that they can go ahead and engage in trading with you and engage in conversation, then that bio section would be the place to do that. And then there's also language preference here. So there is the opportunity for the time bank to be translated into other languages. The languages that are here are the only ones that it's been translated into thus far. So if for some reason there is a language that you might like to see here, then that's not here. Just let me know. I can bring that back to the folks who actually do the tech support for the time banks. But generally, these are sort of the most popular languages that have been deployed for time banks throughout the country and internationally. Then you'll have a weekly updates function. So the weekly updates function controls that newsletter that you receive. So you receive a weekly newsletter that includes all of the new announcements, information about new members, as well as new requests and new offers. So you can either turn that newsletter on or off. And then there's intertrading. So if you want to show intertrading inside of your weekly announcement, your weekly newsletter, then that's where you would turn that function on or off here. And we'll talk about intertrading in just a moment. That's part of the final stretch of the presentation. Okay. Now, next to that profile section, we'll also find a contact section. So in the contact section, we can update things like our address, our phone, website, and then also we can add email addresses and things here. And if you were to add, if you wanted to have a second contact email address, so you can have multiple email addresses in the system, you can, put additional email addresses in. You can put in things about your Twitter and your Facebook profile. So there's lots of options there. And then there's this section here for private, yes or no. And so this gives you the opportunity to control the privacy of your contact information. So nothing here, again, is revealed without your knowledge or without your determination. If you don't want your contact information to be visible, by default, this for all members, the privacy is turned on. So if you wanted to turn the privacy off because you wanted to, maybe have the email address visible, then that's certainly your option. But for most members, that privacy again, so you see that even though I haven't done anything here with that contact info, it's already setting as default to privacy yes. Okay, so you can control the privacy on that contact information, and you can remove any information you've posted. So if you want to remove that contact info from your profile, you can do that. Over here next to contact, we get the change password option. So if you are sick of your password and you want to do another one, you can change your password here. Next to password, you'll find the statement. And your statement will give you a full history of all of your transactions that you've engaged in the time bank. So it's a really good way to go back and review the history of your transactions, things that you've done. If you click on view, then you can get to that page that I mentioned where you would be able to see, what are the comments by both the recipient of the service and the provider. Okay. And then if for some reason, there was something that looks like it was entered incorrectly, or you need to make a change to it, there's an option to delete. So this option to delete is available if a recipient of a service entered their hours, but it was entered incorrectly, then you could delete it and ask them to re-enter it again. And then also on this page, so again, if we look below, we have the hours provided, the hours received, the total balance. You can generate a printer-friendly statement, and you can also email the statement to yourself. Now we'll look at the attributes section. Okay, in the Kola Collaborative itself, the time bank doesn't actually have any attributes, but you can manage those attributes. So the attributes section works entirely by self-selection. So you can choose to check any of the boxes, or you can check none of the boxes. There's no compulsion here. But the boxes here, they help with reporting. So if you would like to identify with any of these check boxes, what would happen is that it would allow me that when I'm doing my reporting to understand who the audience is in the time bank, understand what the nature of that is, and that might help if we're kind of doing sort of the annual review or an annual meeting, and we're talking about the populations that we're serving through the time bank. That would allow me to have that information included in that report. So again, there's no requirement that you fill out any of these attributes sections, but it's really just an option for you to contribute to helping us to better understand what the audience is inside of the time bank and who the time bank is serving. And then finally, next to that attribute section, you'll have the endorsements or the likes button. And likes simply mean that people have have endorsed your profile, and that they feel they had positive transactions with you and positive engagement with you. So that's how that endorsement function works. When you endorse a member, then their likes button will fill up. So it's really just digital karma. Okay. So that brings us to the end of that account section. Let's look at the offers section. So if we hover over this offers button, we get explore all offers, edit my offers, and add offers. So if we click on explore all offers, then it takes us to a page where we have the different categories. So let's look at the full measure of this page. We have edit my offers here, and we'll look at that again in a moment because that's also under that offers dropdown. We have search. So you could search through the list of offers, and again, this is just a basic keyword search, so the same search available at the top of the page is a search that happens here. And then there's browse offers directory. So let's click on browse. Now if we browse the offers directory, then it'll give us a page that includes the full list of offers that are currently available on the time bank. So if you didn't want to browse through the list of categories, then you could just browse through the entire directory of services and see if there's something here that you're interested in that you haven't already seen. And then of course you can, print a copy of the offers directory if you wanted to just kind of have it for physical review, and or you could, email a copy to yourself. So let's go back to explore all offers. Okay, and so then inside of the time bank, you have those categories. So those top level categories that you select are the things that appear here when people are looking in the list of offers. So if we look at classes, lessons, and tutoring, we see that we have some folks who are tutoring students, who are tutoring 5 through 8, who are familiar with sign language and have lessons there, who are familiar with Kiswahili. So there are lots of things here where you can go ahead and engage with people through with folks in the time bank, just through this offer section. And then if you look at, so now that we've clicked on that category and gone deeper into the offers directory, we also have this limit distance option. So the limit distance option would allow you to determine how far you're willing to travel to, engage with the service provider. So if we select it within 10 miles, then it would narrow the list of offers that are available to those that are nearby me. So that would kind of let me know, hey, I mean, perhaps you're focused on being hyper local. The time bank we're trying to work the time bank throughout the entire city. So there may be folks that are very, very far away that, you may not want to travel to work with. So we want to make sure that everybody in every community has an opportunity to trade with people in their local community. And so if you want to do that, you can certainly limit the mileage that you're traveling to work with the service provider. Or, if you don't want to limit at all, perhaps you want to go around the city and work with other people in other neighborhoods, that's perfectly fine too. You don't have to have a distance limitation. But it works to give you options. That's all we're trying to do is give folks options about how they want to trade and with whom they want to trade. Then you have another limitation here, so you can limit the list of services to specific subcategories. So you notice that again we had these top level categories, the arts and crafts, and we have subcategories. Arts and crafts lessons, board games, all of those sorts of things. And then there's a limit group option. So we'll talk about groups again further in a moment, but if you were if you wanted to see people who were in specific groups, then you could limit this list to folks who are members of specific groups on the time bank. Okay, I'm going to go back to the home page for a moment because I do realize that there's something that I've missed that I want to make sure that I cover on that home page. All right, so on that home page, I just want to look at this announcements section here for a moment. So these buttons, endorse, reply, likes, and hours. The endorse button we've talked about a moment ago. So if you've had a positive transaction with someone on the time bank, you can endorse them, and that endorsement will always appear in their likes section. If you want to reply to an announcement that they've posted, you can click on reply, and it will take you to a form where you will be able to reply to their listing. It just gives a standard boilerplate, email there. Hi there, I'm inquiring about your listing, and it gives you the standard boilerplate message. Your email address would automatically appear here. It doesn't appear here because the Kola Collaborative doesn't have one listed. And then it would then there's the from section. So it just gives the name that you have for the first and last name. You can go ahead and edit this message or this subject as necessary. I highly recommend that you just click at the top and maybe type your message up here. So you just drop the standard message down a bit and then reply up here, just because you want people to be able to find the message. And if you don't do that, then they may be confused about what your specific request is or what your specific inquiry is about their message. Okay, and as you see here in this reply to contact, it says private email address. So again, talking about that that privacy function, all of the contact information that you put in is initially private. Of course, when you send that email to them, then there's, or when you respond to their email, then at that point they would have your email address, and you all could engage as necessary as you wish. Okay, so we could go to the home page again. I just want to make sure that I've covered all of the buttons there. All right, so we've done that reply function, we've looked at this likes function, and then the hours function merely takes you to an hours page, and that's where you can do I provided a service or I've received a service, and click continue, and then it would take you to a page where you can record the hours. But in this case, the exchange date was automatically filled in. The number of members was automatically filled in with the member whose post that you clicked on, and then from there you could change the category in the comments as necessary. Okay, and the same is available here on the request and offers. So you have the request and offers, endorse, reply, hours, add request, add offer, members. Okay, and so if the add request and add offer option here, if for some reason you saw this category and it made you remember, hey, this is actually a service that I can provide, or this is a service that I'm seeking, then you can add a request in that exact same category, or add an offer in that exact same category by clicking either of these buttons. Okay, so I'm going to go back to that offers page again. And I think we've covered everything on this offers page. So, again, just drilling down into any of these categories, you can review all of the offers that are available in the time bank. Now, if we look under Edit My Offers, so we looked at Explore All Offers, let's look at Edit My Offers. There are currently no offers that I have posted. So let's look at what it would look like if I were to add an offer. So now that I'm on the offers page, I can click Add Offer. It takes me to a page where I can go ahead and click a selection for one of the categories and subcategories. So I'm going to add to my offers. Okay, and then if we look at the way that this offers page is set up, we have the post date, we have the expiration. So by default, the expiration is a year. You can shorten that time period as necessary, or lengthen it. I highly recommend that you not use the never function, just because it would put that listing out there perpetually, and it's you may not need it out there perpetually. So it's beneficial, because at the end of a year, what's going to happen is you're going to get a notification that your listing is expiring, and it'll give you the opportunity to extend that expiration if you would like. So I highly recommend that you at a max leave it at a year. And then there's also a suspend listing option. So if you find that that this service is maybe taking up too much time, or you don't have the resources to perform this service for a period of time, you can suspend that particular listing and then relist it later. So just so that you don't have to delete the listing, you can suspend it and then come back to it another time. So then it gives me that category and subcategory I selected. It gives me the option for the radius of the service, so I can, as I'm posting an offer, I am also narrowing, the amount of distance I'm having to travel to provide the service. So perhaps I'm focused on only doing this in a very hyper-local fashion. Maybe I'm trying to do this in walking distance. I'm trying to do this in biking distance. Whatever it is, if you want to limit the radius of your service, you can do that here. So let's say within 10 miles. Here you would enter the description of the service, and it's really important that when you're selecting or adding an offer, this goes for both offers and requests. You want to always make sure that you fill in that description. If you don't fill in the description, it will delete the offer within 24 hours. Okay, and then there is add an image for this service. There is add origin and destination points for the service. Now the origin and destination points work for things like ride shares, like shared bike rides, like things that you're doing. Maybe you're dropping off materials. So it's an important function if you want to let people know, okay, this is the route that I'm traveling. I'm starting here and I'm going here. Then that way, the recipients or the requesters of that offer would be able to know, okay, I have to meet them, at this garden. They're going to pick up my compost and then they're going to drop it off at this, compost processing site. Okay. So that's that origin and destination point. Then there's hours. So, if you've already provided hours for this service, you could record hours. Or if you've already, if you've already provided offers, you would record your hours there. There's Go Global. And Go Global works with that intertrade function. So again, we'll talk about intertrade more fully in a moment. But Go Global means that if you want this time bank service to be visible to the broader network of time banks, around the world or around, intertrade, then you would click Go Global. And as you see, if I click Go Global, then it's going to change that button slightly, and it means that the service has now been listed in the global directory. So by default, none of your services are put in the global directory. It's really only the services that you choose, and it's only beneficial for requests and offers that have a global reach. So for instance, reading to homebound populations would actually be a service that might have a global reach because perhaps that elderly person has a phone, or maybe if you're really high technology, if they have like us, a Google Hangout or Skype, then I mean, it might be an option for you to connect with someone at a broader distance and to read to them. But in general, if you wanted to just keep your services local, or if you just want to list it in our time bank only, then Go Local would be the option for you. And it's set to Go Local by default, and it only changes to global if you click the Go Global button. Okay, and then finally there's a trash can. So this trash can is the universal symbol of I don't want to post this anymore. So if you want to remove this service from your profile altogether, you click the trash can, it takes the service off. And then the save without broadcast function, by default, once you hit publish, it's going to put this notification or this offer in the new offer section on that home page. If for some reason you wanted to save it without broadcasting it to that page, then you would click this button, Save Without Broadcast. So for now, I'm going to go ahead and delete this service because it's just a test. Okay, so that's the edit my offers, and that also actually covers the add offers section because we added an offer a moment ago. So we're going to switch over to the request section. So let's click on Explore All Requests. And explore all requests. I'd like to point out here as I'm exploring these requests how thin our request directory is in comparison to our offers directory. So in general, in most time banks, and this is just something, just a sidebar. In general, people have a greater difficulty with asking for services than they do offering services. So I want to make sure that I put the call out to everyone to be transparent in things that you might like to see, that you might like to have from the time bank, and that way you're giving everyone in the time bank an opportunity to help you. You are giving yourself an opportunity to be helped, and it's really working on that cycle of reciprocity. So that cycle of reciprocity is really important. So give everyone in the time bank an opportunity to help you out in a way that you might need help. Whatever that help is, if you think you need body work and you just, you haven't posted about that yet, post about body work. If you think you need acupuncture and you haven't posted about that yet, post about that. Those are services that, we're still sourcing members for and things like that, but some members are already here, but they maybe they haven't posted that they offer that service yet. They aren't aware that that's a service that might be needed in the time bank. Every time you post a request, you let people know in the time bank, this is something I would like to see here. And it might be that a new member who joins in the future would see that service, would say, wow, there's already someone here who needs something that I have. Let me get on top of that. So yes, that's just a sidebar about that request directory. Let's make sure that we flesh out this request directory as fully as we flesh out the offers directory. So looking at requests, let's look at construction and home repair because that's a unique one that's here. If we look at construction and home repair, We see that we've got some construction here. We've got a pedestal bathroom sink that has a leak. We've got some carpentry work that's required. So there's lots of options here, for people who are needing assistance with construction and home repair. Again, just like we did in the office directory, we can limit the distance, we can limit the subcategory, and we can limit to specific groups. And also, just like on that home page I showed, we have endorsed, reply, hours, add request, add offer. And in general, that explore request has all the identical function of the offers request page: a search, a browse, an edit request option. So let's go to edit my request here. Okay, another page that's also very similar to what we saw in the offers directory. I've got 2 offers posted out here, again, for ambassador outreach and kitchen cabinet services. I can limit the radius of the service. I've set these services uniquely to never expire because these are services that will perpetually be needed by the time bank. And then there's the options for deleting, going global, posting hours, or posting an origin and destination point. Okay, and then there's the add request. So if I wanted to add a new request, again, highly identical to the offer section, I can select the category. Oh, pardon me. All right, I can select the category and subcategory. I can add it to my request, and then I can fill in the description. Okay, and then there's the option for me filling in that description there on that offer section to publish or save without broadcast as necessary. Okay, now let's look at the members page. So members page will give us an opportunity to view the list of members that are in our time bank. By default, it's organized by the members who are the newest to have joined. If I'm trying to find members in my general area or in a specific range, I have the option to limit the distance again, so members within 15 miles. And that gives me a list of members that are nearby me. Perhaps those are members that I'm more likely to trade with because they are within range of my travel requirements. So those are things that are going to be pretty important as the time bank expands. Perhaps you don't want to go very far out to work with other members. Then you can limit the distance. You can kind of talk with those members in your nearby community, and then perhaps you all are more likely to work together more frequently because you are so close to one another. So I'm going to switch that back to no limit. And then again, also I can limit to a group. So, perhaps I'm trying to find members in a specific group. Let's look at this Mushroom Hunters group because it is unique. And then we see that Mike Janicek and Mike Strode, myself, are in the Mushroom Hunters group. So, that's just an option to figure out, different ways to engage with members. And again, we'll talk about groups a little bit more thoroughly in the next section of the presentation here. So I can reorganize this list, by members who have been the oldest. I can reorganize it by first name A to Z or first name Z to A, last name, organizations, businesses, or city. So, there are lots of options, lots of ways for me to restructure the list so that I can engage with the member list and the members as necessary to find members who I might want to engage with, or I'm trying to find in a local area, a local community. Okay, and then I'm going to click on the list, a member listing here, so we can see what you would see. So if you're clicking on another member's account, then again, it's giving you very much identical to your profile: the number of exchanges made, the number of search hits, the number of page visits, their badges, their bio, their offers and requests. But again, here I mentioned before that when you look at another member's contact record, it will show you nothing. So it does, your contact information is private, and then it gives you the option to email that member. And if you wanted to post your information publicly, you're free to do so. You're free to make changes to those settings on your own account. Okay. Now let's look at the groups function. Oh wait, let me just scroll down here on the member list, make sure I haven't missed anything. Okay. Yes, let's look at the groups page. Now, the groups page functions like a sort of a distribution or announcement list specifically for a more narrow group. So if you have a special interest group, perhaps you all have a crochet group or a reading group, perhaps you have a group that, wants to work specifically in gardens in a certain area of the city. Any of these different things, the groups function is a really good place to do that. Um, because what happens with this groups function is that if I get this announcement box, I'm a member of here of the Healthy Food Hub Market Days group. So in this announced email group members function here, I would be able to type an announcement in the box, and what would happen is that announcement, when I post that announcement, it is immediately emailed out to all members of that group. And it's also posted here in my group project and event announcements. So as soon as I make a post here, it's emailed out to the group and it's posted on this website here. So when it's posted, it starts to become like a threaded conversation. So at that point, I could reply to that post, that someone else posted. I could, make comments about that post. So that it's just another way for members for those members in a special interest group to engage with one another. Now, if I wanted to create a new group or project for a project or event, then I would come down here to this section and I could enter the group name and I could enter the group profile. So when you enter a group name and profile, as you look here under Join Group Project or Event, you see that it has the name, it has a profile, and that allows you to know just kind of what's this group about. I see that someone's posted this group out here, but do I want to join this group? Am I interested in what this group has to offer? Do I want to participate in this group? So it gives you a couple of different options here. And if you wanted to join a group, then there's a join button next to each of those groups there. But the groups function, again, it functions just like a distribution list, allowing you to communicate to group members who are part of a special interest group. Okay, and if we look under the My Groups Projects and Events function, this will let you know what groups you're a member of, and if you click the X, it would allow you to remove yourself from any of the groups that you're a member of currently. And so now we'll look at the Intertrade option. All right, so with Intertrade, the way that Intertrade works is that Intertrade is a global directory of all of the time banks that we're connected with through Hourworld. And so sometimes there are services that you don't necessarily need to be in the same city to exchange. Let's, for instance, look under the categories here for legal. So here's someone who's offering their services as a community mediator. They've got court-sponsored mediation in their background, and so they're in Missoula, Montana, and they're offering this service to members of the time bank, globally. So what would happen is you could reply to this just like you could reply to an offer inside of your own time bank. And this allows us to inside of the global time bank directory to exchange services with other people who are also engaged in this work of time banking, and not necessarily need to, if it's a service that we don't necessarily offer in our time bank as of yet, then it's a good way to go out and get other services and to engage in other types of activities that you might not see in your local time bank. And just like the offers directory on our general time bank, we've got the option to do a keyword search. We've got the option to limit to a specific type of mileage. And then if we switch here in this drop down, we've got the option to switch to global requests. So we've got global offers, global request. And again, we have the different categories for people who are requesting services on a global level. And also on this page, there's an option to contact time bank locations. So if you are traveling or if you have friends in other states or other towns and you've told them about time banking and they're like, hey, I really want to get involved, is there a time bank in my area? There are ways here to contact time banks in other locations. Perhaps you're moving from Chicago to another city and you want to talk about ways to get an account on a new time bank in the city that you're going to. Then there are all those sorts of things that are available here inside of the global time bank directory. So you can go here and browse through the directory. You can see the time bank that you're looking, that you're interested in. You can click on their name, and it will allow you to email that time bank directory with your message. Perhaps there's an interest rating request that you have there. Okay, so that's that intertrade function. And that actually concludes, I think, all of the features that I have to cover on this time bank presentation. So I hope this has been useful to you. I hope that if you have any questions, feel free to use that contact your coordinator button at the bottom of the page, and you can contact me on that function. I'd certainly love to hear your thoughts about time banking. If there's any challenges that you have with using the site, you can always email me through the website, or you can email me at connect, CONNECT, at kolanutcollab, KOLANUTCOLLAB.org. All right. Thank you very much.